Hello and welcome back. We are now going to be going into our first match, and joining me in the casting booth is Gabe, aka Calimdir. Good morning, Gabe.
Good morning. How's it going? This is an exciting matchup again in this round. You guys talked a lot about it on the analyst booth there, but I'd like to go over a little bit again with this Praxis mid-range versus Stone Scar aggro.
Okay.
How do you think the matchup is going to go?
I definitely predicted it as going in Sunny Vale's favor. I think Toph has a lot of interaction. I don't think it's going to be a very one-sided affair, but I think Toph doesn't quite have enough tools to be favored in the matchup. But I also don't think Sunny Vale is going to run him over. I think we'll see a good series.
I agree with you. I think it's slightly favored towards Sunny Vale. The interesting thing about Sunny Vale's Stone Scar build is he doesn't have the impending dooms or fire maws or anything like that. So once he gets stopped, once he's stuck on the ground, he does get he has a really tough time. He does have the obliterates. It's a little bit bigger than your traditional like Jito-less version of Stone Scar. It does have those obliterates to have some end game power from hand, but it's not the same kind of deck that you're expected to face when you run into Bandit Queen. That like any one card could end the game for you. Which Praxis has a lot of trouble dealing with.
Right. Yeah. Praxis doesn't have sweepers. We don't have, the Pyroclasm effect for this game is in Primal. We don't have an Anger of the Gods or anything like that. So Toph is looking at spot removal to take care of things like, as we see in Sunny Vale's hand, Assembly Line. As we saw in his pre-mulligan hand, Grenadin Drone. And Torch and Purify don't line up very well in that situation.
Yeah, and I think the having 4 obelisks also makes the matchup a little bit worse as we get into it here, just because it's a very low tempo card.
Yeah, and we see Torch does line up very well against Oni Ronin. Sunny Vale's initial play is a little slowed down. He unfortunately doesn't have a 2-drop to follow the Oni Ronin up. But yeah, we do see Toph, if he's going to be hesitant to block this Crimson Firemaw, or block with his Crimson Firemaw in his hand, because if it gets Rapid Shot, he is out of things on the board. Obliterate doesn't line up very well against Grenadin Drones either. Although Sunny probably doesn't even give him the opportunity to block. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, even if he gets the only time Obelisk is good against Stone Scar is when you can get it down and then resolve a Titan or a Carnosaur, so you have something that lives through Obliterate. But it's just really, really hard to get that off against a deck like Sunny Vale's that just has all these dudes coming at you from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. And we see the Crimson Firemaw swing in. Toph knows he can't block with it, so if he's not blocking, he might as well be attacking.
And yeah, that's going to get that Shatterglass Mage off the top there, which is really good. And then,
unfortunately for Toph, the Shatterglass Mage is going to be easily taken care of. And again, he's going to be hesitant to block with this Champion of Impulse because Rapid Shot just gets rid of his board.
Well, I think that's fine. I think playing the Shatterglass Mage is still good. Like he needs to get all the cards out of Sunny Vale's hands, so he can stabilize. Right? He's at 22. Like I think Toph is actually in a pretty favorable position here because sure he's going to lose a unit to Rapid Shot or maybe take a little bit of damage, but then he's going to be able to resolve this Dawnwalker and have this Heart of the Vault if he can get one more power.
The Heart of the Vault will definitely help swing the matchup. I'm just a little scared of. Yes, he is at 22 health right now, which is definitely where you want to be on turn 5. That's definitely better than you can often end up being. But he just doesn't have a lot to fight what Sunny already has down, and I think he's just going to be chipped away at here. Yeah, as we see, the Rapid Shot managed to force some damage through despite the block.
Well, Sunny Vale's next turn is just going to be Ultimate Power Knight, almost certainly.
Yeah.
So that means Toph is going to be trading his Crimson Firemaw almost certainly, and then just have a Dawnwalker, which is probably going to trade with the. Actually, he goes for the Obliterate.
Yeah, Okay, I think he reads that he can now safely block. Yeah, and Sunny Vale just passes.
Yep.
Okay, I think you're right. I think Sunny may actually be stalled here. You're right. I think if he had gone with the Dawnwalker line, I think he would have been in trouble. But he took the read that he should obliterate the Pyro Knight. I think that is paying off.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's obviously the much smarter play. The reason why I'm not in Worlds. And yeah, now he's got this killer Connoisseur or killer Dawnwalker set up in his void there. Every card that he plays at the top is going to be huge. Sunny Vale really needs something like a Bandit Queen or Obliterate to make a difference in this game. His 1-drops are not going to do that much. Maybe Assembly Line can help just if he can play enough of them. But he's only got one more in the deck. So
if Toph draws a power here, he actually has lethal. He'll play an undepleted power. He Heart of the Vault's face swings, and Sunny is dead.
Yep. Yeah, this Suffocate is really, really bad in this matchup.
Yes, that is true. Sunny's removal suite does not line up very well against Toph's at the pre-board. That is maybe something we didn't touch on enough in our discussion earlier.
So Toph here, interesting decision. Does he play this Titan at all? Because if he plays the Titan, he doesn't have 2-turn lethal, but he is at 11, right? And that's just not where you want to be against this deck, where he's going to get in like guaranteed 3 damage or maybe more. So he has to play the Titan.
Yeah.
Oh, and he gets the Dawnwalker back, of course. So he's obviously going to play the Titan there.
Yes. I think the worry there is if you swing, you may just be dead.
Yeah, that's the bigger.
But Toph has a killer instinct here, and he is going for it. And he is paid off. He draws the undepleted power. Heart of the Vault. Sometimes the 2 damage is very relevant.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for that power, Sunny Vale would have lived for 1 more turn. He would have been able to torch the Dawnwalker, but he probably would have just died the next turn anyway to having to chump.
I don't know what Sunny's outs there were, but of course, there's no reason to concede early in a tournament like this. If Toph, drew mono 6 drops for the rest of the event or for the rest of the game, there's maybe a perfect set of draws. But yeah, Sunny was definitely in bad shape.
I think it would have taken mono power even.
Well, power was lethal for Toph.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he had to draw mono uncastable units. So
we're going at 5.
Yeah, we're going into game 2 here. Of course, games 1 and 2 are pre-sideboard.
Yeah, so this pre-board configuration, I think, is still slightly favored towards Sunny Vale just because of how much the practice deck can dirtle, and because Sunny Vale's Stonesguard list is more aggressively tilted than a traditional Stonesguard list. But
we are seeing Sunny Vale's list show off one of its weaknesses, which it can sometimes fold on its own power base, although the Seed of Chaos off the top gives him exactly what he needs to start playing cards. If he didn't manage to start getting onto the board this turn, I think we would have seen a quick 0-2 for Sunny. Yeah,
I mean, it's still pretty late here, though. He does have the Rapid Shots, which are really good here with the Overwhelm unit that he has. And he does have a Bandit Queen, right? But he doesn't really want to play Bandit Queen right this second, I don't think.
Right.
And I think he's going to have to.
I would suspect he's probably going to snap off a Suffocate while he has the... Oh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that is definitely Toph's best line there, and it really hurts Sunny in terms of his earlier development of the Champion of Chaos, but...
Yeah, and that means Toph has a nice Sandstorm Titan lined up for next turn. Sunny Vale's not going to... Even if Sunny Vale has a Rapid Shot, that's still... not any damage getting through. He doesn't have deadly, overwhelm or anything like that. So the Rapid Shot is just a removal spell, and the damage from that unit will still be blocked. So Toph is in a pretty good position again. And now that he's got this 5th power, he only needs 1 more power to unlock this Carnosaur and Heart of the Vault in his hand.
Yeah. Yeah, as I kind of suspected, Sunny wants to snap off, suffocate targets when he has the chance, although this time he can now use it to clear the way and get in a decent hit with Bandit Queen. Ideally, you want to get the effect on more than 2 other units, but against an empty board, dealing 10 is very good.
Yeah, that play may have given Sunny Vale a little bit of a window back into this game, playing the Amber Acolyte there over like something like a Titan. But still, now that he has his 6 drops online, it's going to be very, very difficult for Sunny Vale. But yeah, any damage he can get in is really important when you have 4 obliterates in the deck.
And Toph picking up a 4-cost Predatory Carnosaur, he'll be able to Predatory Carnosaur plus Purify this turn and clean up the board pretty effectively. I believe that's what he'll end up doing.
Yeah, that 4-cost Carnosaur is going to be disgusting.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal.
Yeah, and that's Purify, all that stuff. Everything in his hand now, just like Obelisk is the only card that doesn't really do much, but once you have all these cards down and you play an Obelisk, it'll feel okay, I think.
Yeah, he's done an Obelisk in both the first and second game, but they haven't clogged up his hand too much where they've been a disadvantage, which is very fortunate for him. Yeah, here we see the 4-cost Carnosaur eating one of the units, and the Purify.
It's got to take the drone.
Silencing the drone and killing it. Okay.
Well, there's Obliterate, but where does Sunny Vale point this? Does he just have to point it at the Carnosaur? Because
I think he has to point it at face.
Yeah, I think he has to point it at face, but he doesn't know that there's another Carnosaur and a Titan there, and that he's really only got like 1 to 2 draws left for this game.
I mean, I think he has to play it this turn. I think he doesn't have the luxury of waiting. Even though his opponent's at 10, he's still at 23. This game is, quickly, falling away from Sunny.
I mean, if he holds the Obliterate, Toph might be more inclined to attack or leave back less blockers.
That's true.
But now Toph knows what's up. So
yeah, but I think Sunny is on the runner Obliterate plan or bust. Of course, if he manages to find a unit with Overwhelm, he can maybe push some damage through. And Toph swinging because he drew a torch. He can clear up the board completely. So we did see Sunny play his one of Granite Monument earlier. So Toph knows he doesn't actually have to worry about anything with charge except for Bandit Queens. And again, we've already seen one of those get played.
So yeah, I mean, really, I was going to say, I think Bandit Queen is still a very real fear. Like, I honestly thought that attack with the Carnosaur was pretty greedy. When he can just win,
it was definitely very aggressive. I can agree.
I mean, I guess you want to give them the least draws for Obliterate. So it's a back and forth. You got to decide which card you're more afraid of and how many cards they have.
That's true.
But with this torch now from Sunny Vale's hand, he does have a few more outs. I think maybe just another torch. And he should be alive at 1 here. So yeah,
now Toph is now considering the outs that he maybe didn't consider last turn, but he runs back the ace base. Rhino over in another winner's bracket match would be proud of Toph.
Yeah, and I think here the double attack is okay because you're not dead to Bandit Queen, you're still dead to Obliterate no matter how you slice it. But that's going to be it. Torch doesn't do it. And
Sunny Vale with a quick 0-2, he now has to run back every one of the post-board matches. And we might see an upset compared to the bracket that Neon and I predicted earlier.
Yeah, I mean, the Praxis deck really capitalizes if you stumble at all, especially for these aggro decks. But maybe
unlike some decks
like
Big Combre. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, maybe post-sideboard we'll see the matchup turn around more in Sunny Vale's favor. But it doesn't really look like that's what he targeted. The Statuary Maidens are fine against Dawnwalker, but a little bit slow. Soulfire Drake is actually, even though it's pretty big, it is very good against Praxis because it's just one of those cards that can end the game by itself, and Praxis just might not have the answer. Praxis is not a removal heavy. It's not a control deck. It's
right. With Purify going from fast to slow, they have a less answers to shoot it out of the sky.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how this develops. But you had a point to make about comparing it to Combre versus Praxis.
Yeah, just Big Combre, while it has better defensive tools, it doesn't kind of turn on a dime like Praxis does. Praxis is like, all right, I've stabilized, and 2 turns later, you're dead. Whereas Big Combre usually doesn't quite have that outside of, decks that are running Reality Wardens. And it looks like the players are actually getting back into the game. They probably had sideboard plans already ready, maybe looked them over, and were happy. Oh, we see Sunny Vale showing off the one-of Steelfang Chakram that he brought in from the sideboard, probably for a similar reason to Child Roland having it in his main deck.
Yeah, so I think Steelfang Chakram is not a card that I have done a lot of experimenting with, but some of my teammates have. And I think it's actually a reasonable choice in this matchup where traditionally Praxis really wants to get card advantage through their card value itself, like each individual card being really powerful, and then from Carnosaur killing something and surviving, and Heart of the Vault drawing and such. Steelfang Chakram can make every single unit that Sunny Vale plays trade with one of those, and that takes away a lot of the power of the Praxis deck in the late game. So maybe it'll allow Sunny Vale to keep trading such that...
we see slow coming in from Toph. Interesting. I suspected that might come in as a tempo tool, but I wasn't certain.
And I don't think it could have hit a better target. I think taking that Steelfang Chakram out of the equation immediately is going to help a lot down the line. Yeah,
basically that slow was a sabotage. I think if the game goes to the point where Sunny can afford to cast the Steelfang Chakram, Toph is probably well into the driver's seat.
Yeah.
So really, Toph got a sabotage that showed him more of Sunny's hand.
Yeah, slow's great because you get to see almost their entire hand. You just guess what power cards they have, but it's usually fine. But yeah, so this Statuary Maiden is interesting because Statuary Maiden is a very good card, right? The Cudgels are really useful against the Dawnwalkers. It's really useful, but it's just not a very aggressively statted unit. Like at 4, imagine him playing an Impending Doom here, right? Think about how good that would be. Not as good because of potentially what Toph might have in his hand, but still. Yeah, Statuary Maiden just doesn't do a lot for getting Toph killed, which is what Sunny Vale needs to do.
I imagine it comes in because, interesting, Toph is actually prioritizing using his second Purify to leave up fast speed interaction more frequently. I really like that decision.
Yeah, so now that he's just got the torches, I don't know, I think he's in a pretty good spot. Also, something to note, it didn't come up, but it can come up. There is currently what I believe is a bug between Statuary Maiden and cards like Instigator, Scrap Tank, etc. So Sunny Vale, if he were to have both out and kill one of Toph's units, he would not get the 1 damage from Instigator, which hopefully won't be relevant, but it is something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wow, Toph does not have the draw that he's had the past 2 games. He does not have a lot of gas. He just has
he has a lot of removal in his hand, but he doesn't have the ability to actually kill Sunny after that removal has taken its toll on Sunny's board.
Yeah, if Sunny gets the chance to just get one reasonably scary unit on the board, he can keep it going for a while with these 2 Annihilates. Sure, it doesn't deal with Heart of the Vault, but it's protection from Carnosaurs and Sandstorm Titans. And so that makes Toph's draws potentially a lot worse as the game goes on.
It really matters what Toph draws as a threat here. If he draws anything that Annihilate answers, I think he's in really rough shape. These 4 Grenadin Drone may just go the remainder of the distance.
All right, Praxis Displacer is not too bad. It does reduce the damage he's taking by 1 for a turn.
It doesn't actually end up slowing down Sunny's clock, though. Oh, now it might with the rapid shot.
Yeah. Well, what it does do is eat and annihilate, and now it's if something was going to get annihilated, he'd rather it be that than Carnosaur, basically. Yeah,
but given the way this game is played out, I think the only real way Toph had out of this is drawing something that just doesn't die to annihilate.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
The redundant annihilate in Sunny's hand means that if he draws anything that's mono faction, I think it's just a little too slow, a little bit too late.
Yeah, I mean these grenadine drones don't look
Yep.
that threatening, but
There's a
you
Titan.
don't know what's
And-
going on behind those little blinking eyes.
Toph is hoping that this is going to stick, and Sunny's got some bad news.
Yeah, this rapid shot is going to give another statuary main, which is pretty rough at this point in the game where he doesn't actually need that much damage.
Right. If Toph plays a unit, blocks the Maiden to block them. Oh, that's the power draw. Unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think there's a way for Toph to get out of this.
Yeah.
Even if he draws a block, if he Heart of the Vault into something he can cast, he's still dead to just rapid shot face on anything that gets through.
Yep, there's just too
So
many.
I think we're going to
board.
see Sunny manage to pull his way back to 1-2 in the matchup. He still has a long way to go, though.
Yeah, and there's that sweet Heart of the Vault off the top that
Toph
has, but it's not going to be enough. Even if he gets, and I can't think of a card that really gets him out of here because there's just too many attackers, too many little grenadine drones. Ian toss 5 help there.
Yeah. I mean, this is exactly what he needs. He's going for the speculative shot on the Maiden in case he draws a piece of removal, but again, just anything that gets through rapid shot face and Toph is out.
And Soulfire Drake and Cinder Yeti. There's no way anything is stopping Sunny Vale this turn.
Yeah, Sunny has a myriad of ways of just being like, I had all these.
Yep. Had you dead 20 ways, kid.
But again, this is only the start of Sunny Vale's clawing back into this. Toph still is up 2-1 in this match.
Right, Sunny Vale's got to win the next one and the one after that to be able to take this match and move on. So I'm sure they'll be eager to get back into the next game.
Yeah,
pretty quickly. And
once again, they might glance over their sideboard plan again real quick. But yeah, I think they probably have practiced this matchup. Most of last evening or this morning. Toph in Europe has probably been getting his morning practice on before this. Sunny on the Pacific Coast, waking up pretty early to be playing in this. Probably did it last night, but I think they know exactly what they want to do, and yeah, they're back in the game pretty quick.
Yeah, we didn't see any of those devoted theurges from Toph's side, which I think will be pretty helpful if he which he now has. So this is going to be a pretty different match, I think. Now that Toph has he doesn't have a ton of power though, right? He's only got the 3 power, but he has a torch. And
he's gonna have to develop slowly, but the Purify was a pretty good draw. Again, he's got a lot of interaction, but he had a lot of interaction last time. He had the 2 torch, 2 Purify slow draw last time, but this time he has the devoted Thurge. Not the biggest body, but speak of a big body, and now Toph has drawn a Sandstorm Titan.
Yeah, and that will be really good against these Cinder Yetis, but he's got to draw that.
What do you think Toph slows
power
here?
The
assembly line?
It's either going to be assembly line or statuary maiden. It depends on. So the thing about statuary maiden is he needs 2 cards to deal with it, and he can't attack through it, and it probably just gets in for 2 over and over.
I think
the assembly line is probably a little bit more threatening, just because Toph has a really limited number of blockers.
Okay, he does go for the maiden. I think the logic for assembly line is that is Sunny Vale's preferred play on turn 3 here without getting the summon off on the Cinder Yeti on a target. But I agree that Statuary Maiden is also a very good choice.
Yeah, I think I might have gone for the assembly line. I am also not, I haven't played in Pro Tour Ixalan, but that's just what my choice would have been because, with Torch and Purify in hand, a bunch of 1/1s is not really what I want to see on the other side of the board.
Right, but the Torch and Purify don't kill Maiden in 1 card either.
That's true. The other thing is that putting assembly line to 6 is really different than putting a card to 8 because 8 is basically uncastable. 6 is actually relatively achievable for Sunny Vale.
That's true. Toph will have seen the amount of power in Sunny's hand. He knows he's going to get to at least 4. Oh, with that Soulfire Drake draw, if Sunny finds a 5th power, again, Toph cannot purify the Soulfire Drake out of the air on his turn. He has to choose if he wants to torch it to avoid 5 damage, assuming he still has the torch in hand, and give Sunny the Entomb value, or if he wants to take 5 and purify on his turn. Which is a very difficult decision.
I think he's going to have to torch it. But he's going to use the torch here.
Ooh.
So didn't he have... Yeah, he does have a 4th power. So, all right, it's good that he plays the Titan. He knows to play Titan because he saw the 2 Cinder Yeti. So he doesn't want to just play the Theurge into there and just not actually do anything.
Yeah, they're still giving Toph a lot of good value. Knowing what blocker to play. He probably would have played the Titan anyway, I imagine. They both died to Annihilate. They both died a Rapid Shot. But Cinder Yeti, he knows Cinder Yeti's in Sunny Vale's list.
Yeah. But that torch is honestly pretty questionable for me, because even though he didn't know about the Soulfire Drake, and he's not expected to play around specifically Soulfire Drake, and yet he couldn't play it the turn after, it still would have been useful in that situation, right? It would have meant that Sunny Vale probably wouldn't have blocked. He would have just taken 5, and it would have been able to take out a Cinder Yeti or something instead of a 1/1. But honestly,
I'm very surprised Sunny went with that line where he's giving up his entire board when, it's because he has the Soulfire Drake in hand. I understand it, but that's a very close line. Obviously Sunny's the much better player than I am. He knows his deck inside and out, but I'm very surprised at that line.
So the thing about the line Sunny Vale took is that even though it seems ridiculous, a lot of those cards were never going to do any damage anymore unless
that is very
Rapid
true.
Shot or Annihilate. Whereas in his hand, there's the Rapid Shot, but he definitely in his hand had an achievable win condition with Soulfire Drake as long as Toph didn't have Purify, which Toph did. So it just ended up being the wrong play for how their hands lined up, but I definitely saw the line. Right,
and I guess the Soulfire Drake in hand is worth more than the 4 Bandit Queens that are floating in somewhere in Sunny Vale's deck, which is the real payoff for having a wide board. Even if 2 of the Grenadin drones are blocked, a Bandit Queen can get you through an extra 7 or 8 damage if you have a wide board. But he's playing to the card he had in hand. It's unfortunate for Sunny that the Soulfire Drake then immediately got purified. So it was really just a 5 damage burn spell to face. Didn't get its Entomb value.
Yeah, so Sunny Vale doesn't have great attacks here. Toph can just take a double block. But that does let Sunny Vale get in 3 damage, guaranteed at least. But then Sunny Vale is just gonna be stuck with another 2/2 and the 1/1, or the 1/1 and another 2/2. And be back in the same position against 1 blocker, and Toph's going to be able to play. I think he has another Fireman hand. But obviously Sunny Vale doesn't know that, but he can expect just a threat to come down almost at every turn for the rest of the game for this Praxis deck, because it's kind of what it does.
Yeah, and once Praxis has gotten to 5 power, Toph has only played a few cards. They were mostly development cards, Seek powers, slow, but he's only played one fatty threat, and that's what the deck has a very high density of. So until Toph misses a turn, you can almost just suspect all right, I can deal with the fatty on the board now, but how do I deal with the next one until he misses one? Because that's going to be his game plan. Yeah,
well, he's not going to miss one with this Heart of the Vault on top, but
nope. And he also drew the Final Influence to play it.
Yep. That turn worked out better for Sunny Vale than I imagined, because of the way Toph blocked. It allowed him to keep that Cinder Yeti alive and actually push through a significant amount of damage. Now Sunny Vale, because he's not that Jeetoless deck, because he's somewhere in between traditional Bandit Queen and Jeetoless, he does have a couple outs in if he has the second Soulfire Drake or through those Obliterates. Because obviously he's not getting through anymore. And he knew that before all this removal came down, I think. But yeah, this is Praxis, it's not Combat like you said, and it's not all the things that it uses defensively are the same things it uses offensively, and so it turns around games really quickly. And Sunny Vale is facing basically lethal. He's only one off here.
Yeah. Whew. So if he plays the Bandit Queen and then hits Ace Base, unfortunately Toph only goes to 7, and Obliterate top deck would not have been lethal, which is, I think Sunny Vale just thought that through and was like, there wasn't an out.
Yep.
He knew that. He knows his deck. It's he only had one line, and that was Bandit Queen, Ace Base, but there was no one card in his deck that does enough damage. So that's why he conceded there.
I think that game may have been lost.
He was basically dead on board.
May have been lost when he made that block that you're talking about, just because of how well it lined up with what Toph was trying to do. But it was a really close series, honestly, and I think it highlighted how well both players play. Like Sunny Vale reading into the possibilities of Toph's deck, and it just not being the right one at that particular moment.
Yeah. So with that, we actually have had, that was actually the last match of Winners Bracket Round 1. We've had some very quick matches. So the total results of Winners Bracket Round 1 are Kamado winning 3-2 over Sir Rhino, Toph winning 3-1 over Sunny Vale, like we just saw, Sarius winning 3-0 over Moosh, and Unearthly winning 3-1 over Tobo. So for the folks that were following along in the pre-show, Neon and I were prophets, except for that match that we just saw.
Well, that's the only important one because that's the one that was on the screen. So,
yep,
failure.
Yep. We did say that match was fairly close. Obviously, Visarius versus Moosh was a mirror match and fairly close. But I wasn't. I'm a little surprised to see Sunny Vale go down, but I'm not that surprised. So,
yeah.
And I think with that we'll be
the slowest aggro player NA. Can't even finish before everyone else.
Yeah, Kamado versus Rhino went a full 5 games.
Yep. But yeah, that was a good round, and I'm excited for Kamado versus Toph and Visarius versus Unearthly to see how this is. This is Unearthly has not had a really good showing in a major tournament for as long as I can remember. So this is really exciting to me for him to finally be able to get himself out there or get himself up there on the biggest stage yet.
Yeah, the best Unearthly has done in an invitational so far is top 6, and he has now tied that. So any series he wins from now on puts him into, at the very least, top 4. If he loses into lowest bracket and then wins, he's top 4. And if he wins again, he is in top 3. And he already just won the match versus TJP 3-1. So, well, we might see Unearthly get the prize he's been looking for the last year. But with that, we're going to be going into a very short break. And then we're going to go down to Losers Bracket Round 1 action. And our planned next match is actually going to be Sir Rhino versus Sunny Vale. We get to see the run back of Sunny Vale. Hopefully he can, hopefully for him, he can make a comeback. Hopefully for Sir Rhino, he doesn't. So we'll be going to that shortly in just a few minutes.